On February 3rd, JP Holly and I were at the West Virginia Capitol and just looking around, and artist Kira Hevner, who is the daughter of Brandy Bland and Jared Hevner, is a senior of ours. And so we are recognizing Kira's work. She had two pieces of work displayed, that one and this one as well. And very impressive. And also recognizing Miss Kayla Judy Scheibner, her teacher, who is in her 9th year at Pendleton County Middle High School of teaching. And Miss Judy Scheibner said about Kira that she is a very creative student who always puts in extra effort to make a detailed and unique work. She also designed a mural for the 911 Center in Franklin that the advanced art class will paint in March.
Wow, good for her.
Yeah.
They are beautiful
Awesome.
paintings.
Yeah, that was a treat to be walking through there. And,
Okay, that concludes then the student and staff recognition. And that we come down to the minutes for approval, and we have the February 3rd, February 5th, and February 11th minutes. Are there any corrections or objections to what you received, or do we have a motion to approve all of the minutes?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval of all of the minutes. Any discussion or any questions? Then all in favor of approving the February 3rd, the February 5th, and February 15th board meeting minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion passes. Now we come down to personnel.
Resignations and retirements. We have Eric Kreitz, head softball coach at PCHS, resignation effective 2/10/26. Donita Kimball, kindergarten teacher at Brandywine Elementary School, retirement effective 6/30/26. Elizabeth Harper, CIS at North Fork Elementary School, retirement effective 6/30/26. Patricia Alt, finance secretary at Pendleton County Middle High School, retirement effective 6/30/26. Lisa Jamison, executive secretary at Pendleton County Board of Education, retirement effective 6/30/26. And Vicki Lynn Bowman, English Language Arts 9-12 at Pendleton County High School, retirement effective 6/30/26.
all right, and you have my recommendation to approve these resignations and retirements as presented.
Our superintendent's recommending approving the resignation and the retirements as presented. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or any questions?
With regret.
With regret. Well, some of them are
Can we
definitely.
separate them? I don't want to vote for one of them. I'm going to see if I can not vote, let one of them retire.
I agree.
I won't say which one.
I already told her that there was a chance we wouldn't accept hers.
I think that's why if we separate them, it might not.
Anything else? Then all in favor of approving the resignation of Eric Kreitz and the retirement of Donita Kimball, Elizabeth Harper, Patricia Alt, Lisa Jamison, and Vicki Lynn Bowman, all of the retirements with regret, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion passes.
It'll be interesting at the retirement dinner to see the number of years that you guys will have.
Oh, my.
There's several years there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Some awful good folks there.
Hey, we're missing somebody. Did we already do Ron Hudson?
Yeah,
Oh, we did
Yeah.
last time.
yep, we did his already.
Okay, nothing under rescinds of RIFs or transfers. Permission to close.
Permission to close the math teacher position, grade 7-12 at Pendleton County Middle High School.
All right, you have my permission to close the math position at Pendleton County Middle High School, grades 7-12.
Our superintendent's recommending that we close this position for math at Pendleton Middle High. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second,
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or any questions?
and I assume it is to do this next part. Okay.
Anything else? Then all in favor of granting permission to close the math teacher, grade 7-12 at Pendleton County Middle High, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion passes. Permission to post.
We would like permission to post a math and physics teacher for grades 7-12 at Pendleton County Middle High School.
And you have my recommendation to approve the permission to post the math and physics teacher grades 7 through 12 at Pendleton County Middle High School.
The superintendent's recommending that we grant permission to post. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or any questions?
Christie, you think you'll have trouble getting that position filled with hopefully the same person that's, well, maybe.
Yeah. No,
Okay, but
I mean,
qual-
we're gonna, we'll
qualification.
post it on Thursday, and we're hopeful that we'll have some
All right,
applicants.
thank you.
Mhm.
Anything else? Then all in favor of granting permission to post a math and physics teacher, grades 7 through 12 at Pendleton County Middle High, please signify by saying aye. And opposed, no. Motion passes. Employment.
Okay. We have Haley Craig as extracurricular track and field assistant coach at Pendleton County Middle High School. Dave Eason, extracurricular track and field head coach at Pendleton County Middle High School. Laura Brown as long-term substitute English language arts teacher, 7 through 12 at Pendleton County Middle High School. Ryan Seitz for 3rd grade elementary teacher at North Fork Elementary School. Jeremy Rains, substitute extracurricular general maintenance. Ashlyn Judy, restricted substitute teacher. Kennedy Byers for substitute aide. And Timothy Thompson as substitute teacher.
And you have my recommendation to approve these positions as presented.
Our superintendent's recommending employing these as presented. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or any questions?
Yeah, I'd like to know what the substitute extracurricular general maintenance, that's a hard word to say, means. What that person will be doing.
That person will substitute when Dan or Andy have to be off.
Okay.
And also, he might be some extra hands to move things that they need extra hands to move.
Anything additional? Then all in favor of approving Haley Craig, Dave Eason, Laura Brown, Ryan Seitz, Jeremy Rains, Ashlyn Judy, Kennedy Byers, and Timothy Thompson for the positions listed, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. They will be employed. No approval of contracts or coaches, and we won't make you read the volunteers and chaperones.
All right, and I recommend that you approve the volunteers and chaperones as presented.
Our superintendent's recommending approving the volunteers and chaperones as presented. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or any questions? Then all in favor of approval of the volunteers and chaperones as presented, please signify by saying aye. And opposed, no. Motion passes. And nothing under leaves of absence, so I think that concludes personnel, and we move to finance.
All right, I will pull finance up here. I will say with folks like Pat Seitz and Carol and Regina and Deborah, it kind of takes me back in time when to my younger days working here in the board office. I remember all those teachers, longtime teachers in the county system. Good to see them back in the school system. Back to the agenda. So to finance, we'll try to work through these pretty quickly. Treasurer's report, January of 26. I will pull up January 31 since that's all now reconciled. Again, this time of the year, cash flow decreases before the state aid picks up, and the taxes have kind of hit their peak, and they'll come back a little bit here in the spring in a few months. 3.164 million beginning fund balance January 1st. Receipts of 981,000, disbursements just over 1.2 million. So an ending fund balance January 31st, 2,942,763.15. Compared to 1 year ago, January 31, 25, we had 2.592, 855.83. So again, this is not year end, but it's a good indication that things are solid for this fiscal year. I don't know that guarantees obviously we'll finish 350,000 ahead of where we finished last year, but at this time of the year, cash flow wise, we're in solid shape and a bit ahead of last year, which is a good thing to know. We still certainly have the rest of the year to get through with substitutes and energy costs being two of our variables as far as those go. Then we have on the right hand side where those accounts are located. tying back to the 2,942,763.15. Down towards the bottom middle of it, we had 3.74% interest, so it continues to decline, has declined a little bit from over 4%, still pretty solid. Month-to-date interest, 10,948,53. Year-to-date from July 1, 77,021.12. So still healthy on the interest earned. Second page just ties back in to the bills. Shows us the gross payroll for January of over 800,000. Ties back to the net checks. Everything reconciles back. And so again, current month ending fund balance, January 31, 26. 2,942,763.15.
Recommend accepting.
Yes, you have my recommendation to accept the treasurer's report for 2026.
Our superintendent's recommending that we accept the January treasurer's report. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or any questions? Then all in favor of approving the January 31, 2026 treasurer's report with an ending balance of 2,942,763.15, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion passes.
All right, next item on the agenda, budget revisions. So sometimes they do tend to come in bunches. There are several smaller projects, and then a couple transfers. Starting off with the supplements from 113 to 119. You'll see the largest ones concerning our leases, putting those into the budget. But number 113 is 66,250. That's for FY26 money that comes to Pendleton County Schools that goes to Experience Learning for some of their STEM initiatives and staff development. So we will get that. It's at some point here before too long. It's in the legislative budget. Have no idea if it's an FY27 budget or not. I haven't looked to that point, but we get it and then we write a check and turn it around. So it's a pass-through item for Pendleton County Schools. The second is a small grant, 114. Rachel Mitchell, a teacher, is getting a grant with some math supplies, I believe. I don't know all those details, but $1,000 grant for her to do with some purchasing there. Tuition reimbursement, number 115, 9594. Various persons are approved. It goes through the approval process at central office if they qualify. Submitted to the state, and this is state funds for tuition reimbursement. Professional learning, Dr. Lambert is here. He was successful in securing a grant to do some training and various initiatives. That was $32,250. That's number 116 to be putting into the budget. Budget entry number 117 is the board has approved several lease purchases in the last several months. We haven't made any payments yet and are not scheduled to in the immediate future, but this puts it on the books, the 2 bus leases and then the HVAC lease, and those will be carried over into the new fiscal year as well, but this is the proper entry for budget purposes. So that's the bulk of the supplements this evening. Those are 576, 424 in general for those budget revision. Number 118 is just general fund or regular fund supplements. It is looking at receipts. The largest receipt there is when we had reimbursement for insurance from North Fork Elementary School for the Michael building, so it's putting in revenue and putting it into the expense ledger as well. And then a little bit of other additional revenue of $40,000 into technology line item, which we had total technology funds, but not in that one line item. So that's number 118. And then number 119 is a couple local projects. Grand Families is a program run by Helen Turner in the central office here with Diana Smith a little bit. They work with grandparents and families who are in this situation where grandparents play a large role. Some money comes from West Virginia State. So they're building up a pretty good balance in that program. And then the foundation in West Virginia several weeks ago gave a donation to the Communities and Schools program for supplies of $6,000 to be divided up. And then High Rock Church, I believe, donated $1,200. And so total supplements from 113 to 119, in large part due to the leases put into the budget, $815,218 for budget supplements. The next item going into budget revisions or transfers, all falling under the category of budget revisions, This is looking at various items in the budget. On the left-hand side that we need to add some into, like the long-term subs, professional subs vacant of 105,000. That's adding there, for example, from some areas where we had some excess and some regular salaries because we didn't have as many regular employees as we originally thought a year ago, going over to the long-term sub side. Some of the health insurance costs we had anticipated have not materialized, so it's crediting or moving it from some of those accounts to the left-hand side. So total transfers are 231,000, moving from areas where there's a bit of a budget surplus into areas where it's needed. So those 4 pages are all the budget revisions for this evening.
You have my recommendation to approve the budget revisions as presented.
Our superintendent's recommending that we approve the budget supplements and revisions. And do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the budget supplements and revisions. Are there any questions? Then all in favor of approving budget supplements number 113 through 119 in the amount of $815,218 and revision number 306 in the amount of $231,000, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion passes.
Thank you. Under 6C, FY27 library funding request. So, the official budget is not approved until the end of May, but this is a budget line item for planning purposes. The Board of Trustees at the library is asking for continued level funding of $10,000. They need to secure some of their money. They need local contributions, whether it be from the county commission or the town of Franklin or Board of Education, to get some of their funding. So they are asking to maintain the level of 10,000 support from the Board of Education.
And you have my recommendation to approve as presented.
Our superintendent's recommending that we approve continuing the funding for the library at $10,000. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion or any questions? I will note that I appreciate their putting about the attendance of the Energy Express and the summer reading program in. That was nice of them to put in.
Yep.
Anything else? Then all in favor of continuing the $10,000 level of funding for fiscal year 27 for the library, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion passes.
6D is approval of wide area network. That's our backbone that gets us out to the internet. Last time we had a 3-year contract with 2 one-year renewals for Hardy Telecommunications. And since then, the state has kind of revised its guidance to a maximum of 3 years, 1-year contract and 2 renewals. It's kind of bounced back and forth over the years. So we did go out to bid through the E-rate RFP process. Shintel sent a letter declining to bid, did not hear from Frontier. We usually do get responses from them, but from neither one. So the one response we did get, which is still very solid, and the pricing is, I think, a bit less than what we pay now, and the speed is more. So Hardy Telecommunications is our recommendation to contract with Hardy Telecommunications for a 1 year with a wide area network with the potential for up to 2 1-year renewals. The speeds that Hardy will be providing will be at the central office 500 megabits, the bus garage, which has minimal needs of 20, Franklin Elementary, Brandywine and North Fork at 500 megabits, and then middle high school at 1 gigabyte, and total back to the internet in Morgantown is 5 gigabytes. So I'm not going to quiz you on what all those numbers mean, but it is an increase of our current bandwidth. It's almost a doubling in some of those locations. It's not, so I do believe that will be adequate. If we need to go out to bid, within a year or two, we can. But this is good. Our current cost is just over $60,000. This is $57,255, and it does get E-rate discount at approximately 90%. So once we factor in the E-rate discount of 90%, it's a very minimal cost to us. Of course, the federal government provides those funds. We talked about at a staff meeting today, the SIPA requirements. We have to make sure all of our students have the necessary training on the internet and the safety features, and the various ways to get that done and the pros and cons of that. But in order to get the E-rate funding, we have to make sure all of our students have the appropriate training for SIPA, which was discussed. But this is a recommendation to go with Hardy Telecommunications again, a 1-year contract with up to 2 one-year renewals.
And you have my recommendation to approve the wide area network contract.
Our superintendent's recommending we approve this wide area network contract. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or any questions?
I assume they're partnering with Spruce Knob over there at North Fork Rock. I think
They
I saw that
are,
on there.
they are, and then some with Chantel in the background and up towards, and I don't know all those connections, but they do partner, yes, that's correct.
Any additional questions? Then all in favor of approving this wide area network contract with Hardy Telecommunications, providing faster and more volume and a lower price, the amount of $57,255 for a year, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes.
Thank you. The next item, talked about for quite a while, North Fork Elementary School stage curtains. We put in a bid request out for that, received one from a contractor from a company in North Carolina, which was just over $17,000. Received the second one from Davis Athletics out of Parkersburg, which had given an estimate before, and it was also over $17,000, but when the actual bid came out, they did lower it by about $2,000, as it says on the discount there, and so we did save some funds from the preliminary estimate. So this is for delivery, shipping, installation of the stage curtains at North Fork Elementary School, $15,888.
And you have my recommendation to approve the purchase of the stage curtains for North Fork Elementary School.
Our superintendent's recommending approval of this for the stage curtains at Circleville, at North Fork Elementary. It's hard to get out to say in the Circleville. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
And
A second.
we have a motion and a second. Any discussion or any questions? Then all in favor of approving this with Davis Athletics of Parkersburg for North Fork Elementary School in the amount of $15,888, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, no. Motion passes. It is approved.
All right, a couple items under financial update. I'm going to start with the enrollment charts. So 6F enrollment charts. Yeah, the enrollment is certified in October, but I don't always get the reports out until a few months into the year once things are a little bit settled. So, this is not necessarily anything new, but it does give some information, a little bit of the shifting of enrollment. We have basically, since the mid-90s, been on a decline in enrollment. This chart just goes back to 99, which is pretty much the first FY99, the first year of consolidation. We had 1,352 students in the county, and we've bounced around for the past 6 years or so between 850 and 867 years, I guess, so 860. So I don't know that that's a bottom or a floor. 843 is as low as we've ever been, but again, that's not far away from those 800 and some figures. And this is as of the second month official count, and those numbers have certainly changed a little bit since then. So a reduction of almost 40%, 38%. Looking at this Pendleton Middle High School, a loss of 214 students. So, a lot of these follow a similar trajectory, loss of 36%. Pendleton County actually increased. I guess there was an influx of elementary school students coming in the first couple of years, and then it's pretty much seen a steady decline as well. And so a peak of almost 600 students in the same building that we have now. Of course, all of these, except for Franklin Elementary, and of course Brandywine changed a bit in 07, 08. They're pretty much the same buildings that we had since then. The middle high school, almost 600 students, and now we have 375. So as I said at the staff meeting a week or two ago, can we imagine even finding room? Of course, we've become accustomed to the smaller class sizes. We've become accustomed to spreading out in areas we probably couldn't do if we were back at those high levels. And so that shows 36% drop for the middle high school. Brandywine, again, it had the Navy base, and so it was kind of stable from 175 to 164 for over a dozen years. It didn't see then the Navy base closed. Some people started leaving before it closed. So it closed about FY 15-16, so you can see a little bit of a decline and then just a gradual bottoming out in the low 90s. Brandywine really sunk now in the past 4 to 5 years, also with the advent of legislative rules that allow students easier to transfer around and perhaps people moving into the area. Brandywine has grown from 94 to 124 in the last 5 years or so. Still a small school, but it has definitely seen an increase of students at Brandywine. So overall, a loss of 29%. Franklin Elementary has had the largest percentage decrease at over 45%. It had 452 students at its peak. Of course, that was in the old building with a double story there. And I don't know the capacity for the current FES. I don't remember what it was. But regardless, at one time had 452 students, a pretty large elementary school in 99-2000 timeframe. Now we're down to 247 students at Franklin Elementary. A general decline, like all the schools in the county. But again, from 99 until now, the largest percentage decrease, almost half the population has lost 45% at Franklin Elementary School. North Fork enrollment, again, like a lot of schools, again, it decreased pretty rapidly until FY04. Then it kind of hung around a little bit. FY10 actually increased. Then it went down again. Of course, Hanover, for all these schools, closed in the early 2000s. So you have the Hanover factor. You have general economic factors for the schools on this side. You have some of the Navy-based factors. So it got down to 102, up to 120. And then North Fork has gone back down to 97 as of the second month enrollment. It's kind of stabilized around 100 students, give or take a few there, for the last 5 or 6 years. It has been fairly flat, a little bit of a decrease. So 97, a loss of 41% in terms of enrollment. So those are just basic numbers, and those are for us. And while folks in Charleston don't necessarily look at these particular charts, I mean, they obviously, as we've said, they're aware. It's still being discussed a lot, about the 1400 floor and what that means and doesn't mean. So, to sum it up, we continue to make that case pretty forcefully down there. But honestly, if we had all these students back, let's say we were back to the left-hand side on all of these schools, we wouldn't be getting any more money than we're getting now. I mean, because we would still be, and even with the sparsity factor, gosh, it might even go down, but nonetheless, we're funded at almost 1,400 students, which is the cap. So if we actually had 1,350 or 1,400 students, we wouldn't be getting any more money, and so that's just the fact of it. And so where would we put them all? How would we hire all the staff to do it? Well, we'd have some scrambling to do, there's no doubt. So we have flexibility. We have been able to do some things, and so it has been very good for our county and very essential to maintain the schools in the mountainous areas that we have. So that's just basic data, basic information there in terms of enrollment. You can see there is some leveling out countywide, but again, I don't know exactly what the birth rate trends are. I've not researched birth rate. Some of us moving in and moving out, but it appears to be a bit of a trough at the bottom, around 860 or 850. We'll see as time goes on how that continues. Pocahontas, which is one of the factors in the 1404 floor calculation, on the other hand, they dropped about 60 students last year, and so that's where, again, we're kind of leveling off. They took a big drop last year, so that calculation, how it impacts us a little bit on that. The next item under enrollment charts, I will go to propane and diesel, just information there. I'll go to propane first. It's a little bit of a markup. It does go to show how our propane cost is calculated. So with Moorfield Southern States, there's a cost that they have when they go to the terminal and pick it up. There's a markup that's part of our bid package. There's West Virginia tax that we get refunded when we submit it. Then there's another very small charge. I can't remember what it is, but it's 0.005. So anyway, our last fill up of propane, we were paying $1.44. So any of you that buy propane at home, or anybody that's a farmer, you know, for their poultry houses and stuff, and sometimes you get poultry rates and things like that. So we're still getting a good deal. Nicole had asked back in December and what we were paying, and one of them actually showed like $1.80 or something, which was a mistake on their part. So that actually got me looking further into how we're being charged there, and so that's kind of where we are currently. It can certainly bounce up and down. So we have a good deal. It has been multiple years since we've went out to bid again. I do believe it's time here in the spring to go out for bid among the various suppliers and see where we end up with that particular process. Going to the diesel, so we have the diesel also with Southern States Moorfield. So we're paying $3.16 a gallon for diesel. And I don't buy diesel personally, but I think I looked at the Mid-Atlantic average, it was like $3.50 or $3.60. I don't know exactly what it is at the local pump on that. So I think we're getting a pretty reasonable deal there as well. They have a cost, they have a markup. Then there's tax that we have to go to the state tax department and get refunded for that. It's a twice a year thing that we do. So in the end, we don't pay any tax on that. So if we subtract the tax, obviously our net cost is even less on those, but that's how it's calculated. Every time there's a shipment, you know, and propane especially with multiple tanks and multiple locations, there's shipments all the time of propane. So we get one of these every time there's a delivery. We input it into our system just to keep track of that. Board Finance Report under 6F. It's just our basic, you know, so this is as of February 12th. It's our basic Weavis report. You know, Hancock got slapped on the wrist, or certainly more than that, about not having all their stuff in Weavis. And they were using it to a certain extent, but not as much as they should have. But bottom line here is, you know, not the treasurer's report, but it's pretty close. You know, where we stand here is 2.6 million to the positive as of February 12th. That's all of our payments and where we stand there in comparison to budget. Last year at the end of the year, we finished about 1.8 million to the good. I believe we will finish at least to that amount in the end of June 30. Some of that remainder, again, of things not encumbered, like remaining energy costs, remaining substitute costs, will bring those numbers down. But we're still in good position for FY26. And as we continue budget preparation, we'll start having budget items on the agenda in March, April, and May. Then we'll talk more about the outlook for 27. But we really, once the legislative session is over in mid-March, then we'll know more specifically for that.
JP, can you discuss the 15% that is the guide from the State Department as far as...
Right. So that is a good point. So if you look at here at our budget, you know, second column from the right is budget. And so that's almost 20 million, as I say. And by the time we do some other supplements, like we did some tonight, which isn't in this report, it's about $20 million. So the state does recommend, and they didn't used to, a 15% carryover. Now, they don't do anything to you if you don't, but if you take 20 million times 15%, that's about 3 million. So, and they do a grading on different things, on audit reports, timeliness of submissions, but one of the grading that they started doing in the past couple of years is fund balance, which isn't obviously only one person's responsibility, but it just comes to grade the county and the finance on that. And so while to me 15% seems a little bit high, it's the recommendation, and they give you a certain number of points if you have 15% and a certain number of points if you have at least like 7%, you know, which is like the 1.4 million out of the 20 million. So that's just information. So as we talk about, yes, in the old days, we were lucky for that number to be 100,000. That's just how close things were. So it is a different world, but there is more increased scrutiny and more talk about, well, you should have cash reserves on hand in case something goes wrong. And so the state's pushing it even harder, and probably will even harder now with some of the issues in Hancock County and some of the other Senate passing legislation. So so it is good, and so, you know, and we get to the point. And so as we have these balances and we have decisions to make, and depending on what the state does, we do want to keep in mind that, yeah, we have some funds in hand, but, you know, 1 year takes 20 million just to operate, and the state is looking at us harder than ever are we keeping a healthy fund balance in there? And so it's all to be balanced out. We're still here to meet the needs of the students and to support the staff, and that takes spending money. And so we're balancing that with some of the recommendations from the state to say, make sure you have a sufficient enough of reserves on hand. And I may bring up some more details on that, but that is something that was mentioned, and that is something that's, we're solid in that. We're not at the 15% level, which again would need us to have about 3 million in a year-end fund balance, but we're certainly not below the 5 to 7% level. That's what their minimum is on that one. So that's basic information about the fund balance and how that. So again, this is a snapshot. I expect us to be as good or better than we were here at the end of 27 or at the end of 26, and then we'll start talking about more about 27 getting into next year on that. So that's all I have under the financial update.
Any questions under finance? Okay, we'll say that we're done with finance and we'll move to facilities.
Okay, and I just want to give a great big thank you to Holly Mowry and Ryan Lambert last night. We had some concerns raised at Franklin Elementary that there was a smell of smoke, and of course you never ignore that smell. And so Holly first went and just investigated. She wasn't sure, so Mr. Lambert was able to go down to the school. And bottom line, we did ask Tyler Scheibner to come just to make sure, but that just all gave us peace of mind. There was nothing concerning. So that was very insightful, because the reason we had to ask those people is I wasn't even to Flatwoods, and Travis and Josh Owens and probably others were already to Tucker and Dan, and Andy was on his way to a ball game in Moorfield. So they were very the people that understand the smells were not quite as available. So that it was very eye-opening. I think what we're going to do is make sure that Mr. Lambert's badge has accessibility, so that if he's available, and maybe even some other key people, so that if we have to call somebody, especially if they live in town, that if we have those situations. So that was a good thing to go through, because it was just kind of like, oh, we need to be prepared to be able to get into buildings. And it was a good discussion with Travis and I this morning, and we'll move forward on that. So other than that, I mean, we are looking forward to our project getting moving on Franklin Elementary. Travis did say that the person that was looking at the part for the HVAC that was causing us previous problems was supposed to be coming in today. So hopefully they fixed it. Awesome. They came, okay. So we'll hopefully move forward with that and the project as well with Franklin Elementary. So.
For Franklin, I think we were hoping to do some over spring break, but non-existent spring break. So that may push it back, but the company wants to do it as quick as possible. We want to do it, but it's going to take some time to get them in there. So worst case, it may be right after school is out that we get the large project done. But some of these other issues that are current, we are certainly working to get those fixed now.
Any questions under facilities? With nothing under new business, or old business, then we'll move to new business, and we'll have the West Virginia University Extension Service funding request.
Yeah, so that's located here. It could have been under finance, or library could have been here. So but basically it's a similar concept in terms of the County Board of Education really provides funding to two other entities, the library just discussed, and the extension office. And while the library over the past 10 to 15 years has probably almost doubled, so has the extension service. So they both roughly similar amounts over the years. The extension service is asking for a slight increase for the coming year. So the second page of the handout shows that we have been providing $8,500, and that's increased a little bit over the past couple years, but in small increments. They're asking for $9,000 for FY27 funding year, and that's the information to you. That is what they are asking for.
Yeah, my recommendation to approve the request as presented.
Our superintendent's recommending that we approve the request as presented, which is a slight increase. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or any questions?
I'd like to know what this money is used for.
Help the two salaries. They have two agents, it helps with the salaries.
So that's 4-H and the Energy Express.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, it does help. Now, how they divide it up in their budget, I don't know, but I think it does go to help pay their salaries. And then a lot of them says agent salary matched, so, but it helps to pay for salaries down there, yeah.
Any additional questions? Then all in favor of funding this West Virginia Extension Service funding request at $9,000 instead of $8,500, please signify by saying aye. And opposed, no. Motion passes. Calendar changes.
all right, so, with the weather that we've had, we do have a narrative there that's been provided. March 27th, Friday, was to be an early release for building level, and our recommendation would be that that would be a full day of school. And then Monday, the 30th, Tuesday, the 31st, and April 1st would be full days of school, giving us Thursday, Friday, and Monday for a small spring break, weather permitting, and don't anyone say that word. That's coming supposedly Sunday. So that is our recommendation that we're gonna submit to the board, to the State Department, because we have to update them. Okay?
Now, we need to move on this too, don't we?
Do they?
It's under new business, so go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So it'd be
Wouldn't
my,
hurt to do it, no.
it'd be my recommendation that you approve these calendar changes.
Our superintendent's recommending that we approve the calendar changes. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
That's all the days that we can take now, that the rest of them are concrete.
We could take Thursday as well.
Thursday.
April
Yeah.
the second.
Thursday,
Oh, the
Thursday,
second.
Thursday the 2nd is still available.
Yes.
There's 2 OS days at the end of the year.
It makes
Right,
sense.
and then we'd have to put them at the end after that one.
Yeah, okay. Wow.
US stage like in purple over there, so yeah.
Okay. Any more questions? And all in favor of approving the calendar as amended and presented to us tonight, please signify by saying aye. And opposed, no. Motion passes. We have approved the calendar. I think that completes us under new business, so we move down to other, and we have 6-month attendance reports.
I'm refreshing my screen, as I think we may have.
I did it and was ready for it, and then I pulled it up, and apparently I did not hit the save button, so I uploaded it again.
So we now have it, so if you want to
So it
follow
is
along,
there,
refresh
yeah.
your screen as well, or watch on the monitors here. So yes, we now have an attachment
All right.
for attendance.
Okay.
So, this is for the 6th month, and if you all recall, the last time we had an attendance report, Christy, I believe, read it for me. I wasn't here, and hopefully in my notes it talked about just being prepared for the next time because it covered all of our sick days. So there was a chunk of time there where the flu was going around and COVID was going around and strep was going around, and it hit us pretty hard. So that was during the 6th month. So numbers are down compared to what we would usually see. With that said, North Fork scathed by. I mean, I guess it didn't quite make it over the mountain to them because their numbers weren't hit quite as hard as the rest of the county. For the 6th month, the best individual grade percentage was North Fork's 2nd grade, which still maintained at a 97.57%. And if you take a look down through, the green indicates the highest classroom for that grade level with the elementaries. So North Fork, with the exception of 1st grade, had the highest attendance in the county for each of those elementary grade levels.
They're hungry to get that trophy over there.
Listen, they've kept those meal trophies for a long time now. They want to get that attendance one too. So best individual school, again, North Fork Elementary, they were at 95.36. The best county grade level was 4th grade at 95.76, and then the county average was 93.42. I will point out, with all of the sickness and everything that was going on, if you look at the middle high school, they had 2 grade levels that were at above 95%, which is also not something that we see all the time. So our 8th and 10th graders did a great job there too.
Awesome.
Our numbers now are trending back up. We're not quite as high as what we were prior to all of our illnesses, but that's also something that we typically see about this time of year. So we get kind of into the middle of the school year, and for whatever reason people start missing some more days. Usually, we associate this time of year to illness. But at the end of the year, I mean, based on where we were with a day 110, things are still looking to be pretty good.
Good. I will say that did hit North Fork. Cindy is a volunteer reader in first grade.
Yeah.
And she went up to read one day, and she went in, and the first grade teacher came into the office to call because she said they were falling like flies in her class. She told Cindy to go home, so Cindy went home.
There you go. And see, that was that first
That
grade.
first
They were
grade.
the lower ones there that Franklin beat them out.
So, any questions?
Hopefully everyone's on the mend.
Hopefully across the county, everybody, yes. And in all honesty, the snow days probably didn't hurt that,
Probably.
having that
Right.
break.
Yeah.
Keeping people apart, allowing for healing and rest.
It's a rough way to do it.
It is.
I went into a school one day and a teacher came up to me and she said, "We need a sick day. It better snow tomorrow." And I was like, no. But she was right.
Any questions under the attendance? And then let's go down to school improvement student achievement.
Okay. Do you want to start, Mr. Dr.
Sure.
Lambert?
I just wanted to let everybody know, I got an email from the college board. At the end of last week, we had 5 students through the PSAT that qualified for the National Merit Scholarship, but also received the award designation for rural and small town through their PSAT test score. So the information the student's name can't be released publicly yet because they haven't gotten on and accepted the award so that we can promote it, but I wanted to give you guys a heads up that we did have five students at the high school that qualified through the PSAT.
Congratulations to each of them.
Definitely. Also, we've completed our 3rd benchmark and our 2nd SABRS, which is social emotional survey. And in spite of the weather, the data is looking very good. So we're very, very encouraged by that. So,
Good. That's great.
yes.
Good to lose 2 weeks and still be okay.
Yes.
Anything else under school improvement student achievement? Then let's go down to the superintendent's update.
Okay, so I was in Charleston yesterday with Mr. Charles Hedrick. We attended the House Committee on Education. There were 6 superintendents there in attendance, including myself. There were several House bills that were discussed. The 3 that were open for discussion, Will Hassefluke, the president of the West Virginia Association for School Administrators, was there and spoke and represented the superintendents. House Bill 5012 is recommending looking at in-year school personnel movement. So there's in code right now, after the 2nd month of school, you can't move a teacher, so that would give some more flexibility. House Bill 5089 had to do with being able to verify mastery of transcripts from incoming out-of-state schools, homeschooling, just various other resources. That was very debated. And House Bill 5453 was the modification of the school aid funding, and there was also a lot of discussion with that. There are other bills as well that are discussing school aid, so we'll keep an eye on that and see how that goes.
Thank you for going down to that.
That was
We need to
good
be
experience.
represented.
We did, definitely.
Any questions, anything else under superintendent's update? A conference and meeting update.
Tomorrow morning, we have our South Branch in Petersburg, the Career and Technical Center meeting, and then next Thursday, the EPIC meeting. Between now and our next board meeting.
I think that concludes our meeting then. So our next meeting will be here on Tuesday, March the 3rd at 5:30, and I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes, and we are adjourned.